One of the easier animals to track year-round is the beaver, a creature that leaves very obvious signs of its activities throughout the landscape. You can often find beaver chews on the outskirts of a wetland or pond, which they likely helped to create, in addition to their prominent beaver lodges and dams. They are referred to as nature's engineers for good reason. The terms busy as a beaver and eager beaver refer to how diligently these animals attend to repairing the dams and lodges they create. I usually see them at dawn or dusk, swimming up or down the river behind my house, although they are nocturnal and do much of their work and food gathering at night. Today, beaver are common across most of North America after nearly being eliminated by people in the late 1800s, when their pelts were used to make top hats, the fashion of the day. In early settlement times, their fur was also used by Native Americans and Europeans as currency. Colonists built towns and highways according to beaver activity, taking advantage of the wild grass in beaver meadows to feed their cattle, using beaver dams as bridges and operating mills on the power of beaver dams. Beaver are so common today, it's hard to believe that trappers hunted them almost to extinction. Between 1926 and 1930, 6 beaver were released in New Hampshire to help the population rebound. By 1955, beaver had repopulated the state. These animals have a complicated relationship with humans, being considered a nuisance at times and a boon to wildlife at others. They are considered a keystone species because of the many ecological services they provide to other species. Without them, our history, landscape, and wildlife would be very different. The beaver, Castor canadensis, is the largest rodent of North America, ranging in weight from 30 to a whopping 100 pounds, although 50 pounds for a beaver nowadays is quite large. They are well adapted for swimming with their waterproof fur, large webbed hind feet, and a broad, flat, leathery tail that acts as a rudder. The tail is also where they store fat in order to thermoregulate, or maintain their core temperature, especially since they are active throughout the winter. One of their more prominent features is their bright orange incisors, orange from the iron content that makes them strong and more resilient to acids. Their teeth grow continuously. They have excellent hearing and are able to close their ears and nostrils while underwater. Beaver prefer to eat leaves, bark, twigs, sprouts, fruits, and buds of shrubs and trees, in addition to aquatic sedges and rushes. Small diameter deciduous trees such as alder, aspen, birch, maple, and willow are preferred to evergreens. They typically forage for their food within 100 yards of the edge of the water, although they will travel further when food supplies begin to run out. They will cache their food for the winter under the water next to their lodge. Beavers need wadable water for cover as it protects them from predators such as fishers, coyotes, hawks, brown and black bears, northern river otters, bobcat, lynx, eagles, mountain lions, owls, wolverines, and wolves. They are much better swimmers than they are walkers, and their watery environment provides them with the cover and mobility they need to evade predators. Water levels also need to be deep enough to prevent freezing to the bottom. They will dam brooks, streams, or rivers with small deciduous trees they harvest along the shore, creating a pool for protection. They are a highly territorial animal, and there's nothing more startling than a loud smacking of a beaver tail on the surface of a pond, serving as a warning sign to others. Beaver are very social and live in groups called colonies. Beaver in one colony will often create scent mounds or mud, where they also deposit oil from their castor glands located at the base of their tails to prevent other beaver from moving into the area. They are monogamous and pair for life, breeding in the winter and producing 3 to 5 kits that are born in the springtime. Beaver are unique in that instead of looking for suitable habitat or food, water, and shelter, they create their own habitat. Beaver are an integral part of our landscape, creating wetland habitat and dams that benefit many species of plants and animals, humans included. Beaver flowages are important habitat for many species, including moose, deer, great blue herons, osprey, kingfisher, mink, otter, and muskrat. In fact, Beaver are responsible for creating important waterfowl habitat in the state and contributing essential habitat for species listed in New Hampshire's Wildlife Action Plan. Species of conservation concern such as Blanding's turtles, New England cottontails, northern harriers, least bitterns, osprey, and spotted turtles all benefit from habitat created by beaver. Beaver ponds have also been shown to have a beneficial effect on trout and salmon populations, with the number of fish and their size increasing in the presence of dams and beaver ponds, according to studies. Water quantity and quality is also influenced by beaver flowages. Beaver ponds mitigate drought by recharging the water table. Dams trap sediments and open meadows slow seasonal runoff, lessening flooding by slowing water down during heavy rainstorms. Nutrients are also cycled as beaver ponds move through their successional stages, accumulating in organic matter at the bottom of the pond and eventually supporting new growth as the pond is filled in by grasses, shrubs, and then eventually trees. Beaver are attracted back to the site by the abundant food, and the cycle begins again. The plants that grow in the beaver ponds also help remove nutrients like nitrogen and phosphates from the water, in addition to other toxins. With so many benefits, however, beaver are also regarded as a nuisance, especially when flooding from beaver activity impacts agricultural or timberland or damages property. Nevertheless, it's important to find ways for people to live harmoniously with beaver. Beaver are protected in New Hampshire by RSA 210(9), so anyone wishing to hunt or trap beaver must follow this regulation. Wrapping trees with hardwire cloth or fencing culverts, ornamental plantings, and small ponds with small wire fences can prevent damage and deter beaver activity. Beaver pipes can also effectively control water levels and keep beaver from flooding roads, timber plots, or agricultural land. These pipes are placed underwater so that beaver will be less likely to recognize the sound of moving water and thus be less likely to fix the dam. The New Hampshire Animal Rights League provides up to a $500 matching grant for humane solutions such as flow devices instead of using the traditional method of trapping and killing. Download the Beaver Matching Grant application or contact New Hampshire Animal Rights League at gmail.com with any questions. Anyone wishing to install a beaver pipe should contact New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for a permit and consult New Hampshire Fish and Game or UNH Cooperative Extension for plans for water control devices.